In a way, it feels as if we have gone backwards in time. After Tisha B'Av, the saddest day on the Jewish calendar, where we commemorate the destructions of the temple in Jerusalem, along with other calamities in Jewish history, our tradition provides us with 7 haftarot of comfort, 7 prophecies of consolation. And you heard one chanted beautifully by Sienna and Dustin today. It's a reminder over these 7 weeks that a restoration of faith is just within grasp. Weeks ago, we heard the prophet Isaiah say, "Nachamu, nachamu, ami, be comforted, my people. God's hand will hold us all." But this week, these words of consolation and comfort are very hard to receive. Because when I heard about the murder of 6 hostages in Gaza by Hamas, I was thrown back to Tisha B'Av. If you will, sitting Shiva with the entire Jewish world, living with a broken, pummeled heart, praying for and with the people of Israel. And perhaps it's because Rachel and John, parents of Hirsch Goldberg Poland, have literally been everywhere speaking about their son that was taken by Hamas. Each day you would see them on Instagram speaking in English because they have dual citizenship, speaking with politicians, speaking at schools, joining rabbis and interfaith leaders, giving us hope and perhaps a false sense of reality that they would do it, that they could do it, that soon Hirsch would be home in their arms, that soon Carmel, Eden, Alex, Almog, and Ori would be home in the arms of their loved ones. But when we heard that these young adults were murdered, I felt as if a member of my own family was savagely torn from the folds of the earth, and I see many nods in the congregation right now. I know you feel similarly. Am echad b'lev echad, we are one people with one heart, and it's not a frivolous saying. That is the motto of the Jewish people. As we have when we heard about the death of the hostage, Amiram Cooper, uncle of member Rona Passman, and as we heard when we learned about slain IDF soldiers every day, and those viciously killed on October 7th like Niv Raviv, cousin of member Stacy Scharf, we mourn and we cry, reminding the people of Israel that in their grief, they are not alone. It isn't lost on me that today is also one of celebration. 2 beautiful B'nai Mitzvah. We're celebrating 2 weddings. We celebrated our Shabbat morning with our board installation, our Sinai Temple Board of Directors. It's a full Shabbat morning at Sinai Temple. But the Talmud in Masechet Kedubot is very clear. It says the following: when a funeral procession and a wedding procession meet at an intersection, which one is given the right of way? It's the wedding procession that is told to move forward. The wedding proceeds first because above everything else, we choose life. We find a time to dance, and we find a time to sing, and a time to create a world in the way it ought to be, filled with joy and laughter, looking at our B'nai Mitzvah and looking at our couples and knowing it's their examples, it's their love. That's how we bring light in this world to diminish the darkness. But I also want to dig deeper into that text and read to you the Shulchan Aruch's commentary on the Talmud. This is the most widely accepted code of Jewish law, and this is what it teaches. Yes, certainly, if a funeral procession and a wedding procession meet at an intersection, the wedding proceeds first. But after after the bride has been brought under the chuppah, and there's still before you the obligation to comfort the mourner and gladden the groom. Comforting the mourner comes first. Meaning, yes, when we have means to celebrate, we celebrate. And when a mourner is in our midst, it's our obligation to find room in our hearts to tend to both. It is a difficult, wobbly balance of smiling with those who are just beginning their journeys and also holding those whose journeys have forever been altered. So today we express joy over those that have read from the Torah for the very first time, elation over those that stood under the chuppah and will stand under the chuppah, and we honor the memories of Eden Yerushalmi, Ori Danino, Alex Lubnov, Almog Sarusi, Carmel Gott, and Hirsch Goldberg Poland. It's a little sad to say that I don't have to teach you what we do in a Shiva home, because in Shiva homes and memorials, what do? We tell stories. We share memories, stories that take root, lessons from the deceased that stay with us, that stay within the living. And so this morning, I want to give a brief personal lens to each of these 6 hostages. So when their names no longer exist in the news, because we know how fleeting that is, you'll remember them. Let their robbed lives extend through each of yours just a little bit longer. Alexander Lobanov was 32 years old. When he was at the Nova Festival, he did his best to help others escape by running towards the forest. You might have learned that Alex was a father of a 2-year-old and a 5-month-old. The 5-month-old born while Alex was in captivity, a child he would never meet. Alex's widow said he was someone who loved life and loved freedom, and those are the values that she will choose to teach to their children in memory of their father. Carmel Gott, 40 years old, was an occupational therapist from Tel Aviv. And in November, when the hostages were released from Gaza, and remember many of them children, they came to reveal that Carmel acted as a second mother to them in Gaza. That despite her own fears, she chose to teach them yoga because she wanted to ease their minds and calm their bodies. She was someone who loved music, traveling, and meeting other people, and her brother alone describes her as the most caring person. Master Sergeant Ori Danino, there's no other word to describe him other than hero. His girlfriend Liel explained that Ori had driven himself and others away from the Nova Music Festival. He would have survived. However, Danino couldn't live, knowing that there were others to save, and so he turned back. And in doing so, that is precisely when he was captured by Hamas. He was the eldest of 5 children. He wanted to pursue a career in electrical engineering, and most of all, he was known for his ambition and his love for people. Almog Sarusi was 27 years old, and he was known as a vibrant explorer. He loved to travel and play the guitar, and he was just starting his life in discovering who he was in this world. He also stayed behind at the Nova Music Festival in order to help his girlfriend Shachar recover from her wounds, but that's when Hamas took him captive. Almog was a light and sound technician from Renana, and all he wanted to do was play music and continue to explore the world. Eden Yerushalmi. This young woman was only 24 years old. She loved the beach, hanging with friends. She was studying to become a Pilates instructor. And she was known as the life of the party, always making friends, and her sisters described her as someone who lived life to its fullest. And in her final communications, On October 7th, she begged, "I'm running away. Please find me, okay?" Hirsch Goldberg Poland, American, 23 years old, born in Berkeley, California, spending some time in Chicago and then Jerusalem. He's the oldest of 3 children. He loved chocolate chip cookies. He's a huge sports fan, especially the soccer team Hapoel Yerushalayim. He's a lover of nature and music, an incredible friend, and someone who made others laugh and smile. And we all thought he was coming home. I met John and Rachel Hirsch's parents in Israel. It was November 2023, just weeks after October 7th, and Hirsch at that point had been in captivity for 52 days. And they looked at all of the rabbis in the room, and they looked at me directly in my eyes, and they said, and they pleaded, "Keep Hirsch's name alive." And while these parents' dreams are crushed along with so many others, today, this morning, we can still fulfill their request. Keep Hirsch's name alive. Carmel, Eden, Almog, Alex, Ori, Amiram, Neve, keep their names alive. So how do we do that? This week at a memorial in New York City, Hirsch's father, I can't even believe it, but somehow he was watching, and he was heartened, he was uplifted when he heard the following song. Ani ve'ata nishaneh et ha'olam. Translated, the lyrics are, "You and I will change the world." And the song continues, "You and I, by then all will follow. Others have said it before me, but doesn't matter. You and I will change the world." Hirsch's father said when he heard the hundreds, perhaps thousands, singing that song in New York City, Hirsch was going to change the world. But perhaps even now, with his memory inspiring each and every one of us, we will choose to honor him. We will choose to honor all of them by joining together and changing the world through our words, through our actions, into a world in which he might be proud. When Moses broke the first set of tablets on Har Sinai, later to receive the second, you have to remember that the first set of tablets, even though they were broken, they were not discarded. Quite the opposite. Both, the broken tablets and the whole, the complete, they were set side by side, carried in the ark, proudly displayed before the people of Israel. I first decided to title this sermon, Heartbroken. But I changed the title while writing the sermon, and the title is now Heartbroken, but Not Destroyed. Because I know we stand and we sit among each other deeply, deeply heartbroken. But please hear me this morning, we are not destroyed. And more than that, the broken pieces of our heart sit side by side, the pieces of our heart that swell with joy when we are gifted with moments of light and of life. What an incredible tradition we have, holding it all, our tears, our laughter, our pain, and our hope. And so I pray this morning, may we keep their names alive, and just maybe, ani ve'ata, you and I, through their memories, we will choose to change this world. Shabbat shalom.